Otherwise, welcome. My name is Jason Johnson. I represent the WhyTry organization, and I am thrilled for our panel and our discussion today. We have two people that we really respect and are excited to hear from. We're going to be talking a little bit about creating a revolutionary school culture. And let me introduce our two panelists, and then I want to get right into the discussion. We're scheduled to go for about an hour today. We'll try to wrap up right at the top of the hour. And I couldn't be happier. All right, our panelists are, first of all, we've got Principal Amen Rahh, principal, speaker, and author, an Amazon best-selling author, paving the way towards educational revolution, trained at the International Institute for Restorative Practices. He's been a leading voice in the quest to transform the education experience in America. He founded University Pathways Public Service Academy, now considered a model school for building a restorative community. Just 2 years into its establishment, and it continues to share his sweeping ideas to schools all over the country. Proud Compton, California native, Principal Rahh has partnered with the LA Clippers for a new basketball court, ThinkWatts for a music program, Planet Fitness for a new weight room, FBI for an academy, and a law firm for a youth law society. These are just a few of his experiences. Nationally known for his creation of a unique house system, which he uses to increase a sense of belonging on campus. Culturally relevant house system consists of 4 key secondary goals. Trained and assisted with engineering the Boys to Gentlemen program led by Keith Linton that serves 1,000 students in Watts. And the list goes on. Welcome, Principal Rahh. We are thrilled to have you with us today.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me. And that's right, man. Compton is in the house. Compton, Hub City. Y'all know. Thanks for having me.
So happy to have you. Thank you. Next, we've got Principal Akbar Cook. Principal Cook was born and raised in Newark's West Ward. He attended Essex Catholic High School, where he excelled as a student and basketball player. Mr. Cook attended St. Catherine's College in Kentucky, basketball scholarships before graduating with Bachelor of Arts in Education from Florida Atlantic University. Mr. Cook's love for children and basketball led him to Newark Vocational School, where he became head coach of the boys basketball team. From that, he was promoted to vice principal. He was assigned to the Westside High School as vice principal, well known for having a stern yet caring presence in the lives of many of Newark's youth. Desire to uplift and educate children is always at the forefront of his work in Newark public schools. Mr. Cook's passion to improve his community and impact children's lives has led him to volunteer in food kitchens, participate in Christmas tree and toy drives, also organizes recreational activities for Newark Public School students, and works closely with the Newark Police Department to ensure safe transportation to students at all school functions. Let's see, named principal of the Westside High School for 2018-19 school year. 1 month into his new role as principal, Principal Cook is at the grand opening for a laundromat at Westside High School, which was his project to help ameliorate bullying concerns for students who had displaced, had no funds or access to washing machines. He was featured in the Star Ledger. Success of newly installed laundromat reached the producers of the Ellen DeGeneres show, who invited Principal Cook as a guest to the show 2 separate occasions. Lights On segment on CBS Evening News garnered attention of Oprah Winfrey, who visited his school, and he continues to create new initiatives such as the development of the urban farm on campus, a built-in soccer pitch, and a brand new kitchen for home economics. Principal Cook is a divine leader who builds other leaders just like himself while focusing on the love. Welcome, Principal Cook. We are thrilled to have you.
Thank you, Jason, for reading my obituary. I appreciate you.
It's like we're celebrating your life, huh?
Yeah.
Well, what a list. And then I'm Jason Johnson. I'm the lucky individual that gets to moderate these. I've introduced myself plenty on these, but my background is I'm a school psych. About 6 years ago, I left the world of public ed and came over to the WhyTry organization. That's who I represent now. We're a social emotional learning organization, and we do work throughout the whole country. We actually have work being done in other parts of the globe as well. But it was kind of through our SEL and WhyTry work that we synced up with these two gentlemen and I've said enough. I want to get to their story, hearing about them. So with that, so let's jump right into it. And I want to hear just a little bit. Maybe if the two of you could talk just a little bit about the work you've been doing over the last little while, and then maybe even mix in kind of how your life's experience prepared you for that. I think you two are used to carrying conversation between the two of you. I don't mind if it feels like that, but if we want to start off with just a little bit of order, let's hear first from Principal Rahh and then from Principal Cook, and we'll go from there.
No, absolutely. And thanks again for everybody that's attending. I just quickly go just about who I am, my journey in education, and what got me to the place of being a founding principal. I'm born and raised from Compton, and I was that one kid that, I'm the youngest of 6. I come from a family of educators, but I was that one kid that didn't see the relevance in education as I went through the K through 12 experience. I was exposed to just, going to Compton, it was a lot of fun, a lot of love, but I was exposed to, or I wasn't exposed to the opportunities that could be provided for somebody that looked like me, right? I wasn't exposed to a lot of different careers. So I fell into the stereotypes of wanting to be a rapper and a football player. And I was good at both, right? So fast forward, my father was unfortunately incarcerated in 11th grade, and I had to kind of grow up quick. I was lucky. I luckily got a scholarship to Tuskegee, where I went to go try to play ball. I ended up tearing my knee, came back, and I read this book called The Alchemist. And The Alchemist changed my life. And if you know anything about The Alchemist, it's a story of Santiago trying to find his purpose and his hidden treasure in life. And I found my hidden purpose was to pour love and to better everyone's best. And it was really for young people at first, and then it grew to anybody that came around me. And I got into teaching. I became a teacher assistant, moved to be a substitute teacher. Then I became a teacher at a middle school in which my father graduated from in Watts, California. And then as a teacher, I just seen other educators and I seen other principals, unfortunately, don't, like what Ox said, they didn't focus on the love, and it excited me and it encouraged me to say, I want to be a principal one day. I want to be a head of the institution to show that we can redo this and show kids the possibilities and build a school I wish I had growing up. So fast forward, I was selected by the 2nd largest district in the nation to be the founding principal and the youngest founding principal in LAUSD at the age of 29 to develop a school that focus on the love, that's have a revolutionary approach, that's built on the framework of restorative practices, that's built on trauma-informed practices, that's built on students achieving self-actualization, right? And fast forward, we're now in year 4, and now we are current to have a 100% graduation rate. In 4 years, we've only had 1 suspension, right? And that was because the district said, like, hey, you have to suspend. So we have built a school where we call it the happiest place in Watts. It's because we wanted students to walk on our campus to feel the energy. And that's really what we want to do. And we want to pour that back into our community, and we want to pour that back into schools across the nation.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Principal Cook.
So real quick, I'm a Newark native. I grew up in the city of Newark, even though I went to a Catholic school. Played ball similar to Rob, played ball. I got out on a scholarship, made my way down to Florida. And then I went into the education field. And I remember my auntie, she kept telling me that, do what you had to do. Meanwhile, I was bugging in school. Like I was in Boca, like, you know what I mean? Like I'm in South Florida. I don't know who wouldn't bug out in South Florida. But all the while, the aunt that wanted me to be an educator, she was getting sick, and she ended up passing away, Jay, before I graduated. It kind of drove home the point that I was being complacent, and I didn't, and she didn't get to see the man that I could become. So I came home, another aunt stepped up, my Umi, and Umi got me into the board. She got me an interview. They hired me on the spot because I was this big black guy. They thought I was going to be beating kids up or something, or Sergeant Slaughter or something, I don't know. But it didn't work out. They wanted me to be something I wasn't. I was this big teddy bear. I focused on the love then, but they wanted a drill sergeant. And I ended up getting transferred to another school. And I was happy to go to this other school because it was more men of color than I've ever seen. So I said, you know what? I can find my way by emulating what makes them successful. And I thought I was off to a great start. And then that administration had a problem with me. And I'm just like, why does everybody want me to be this big, lurch, so I had to self-reflect and realize that I was the common denominator. So I had to find another way to do that. So what I did was I started putting love in the lessons. And when you do that, I think it shows. And now I started moving kids. So by the end of that year, they was taping me and showing it to other people. So I was good there. But while I was there, I went back and got my master's. I wanted to prove to my auntie that I could do the work. And I got a summa cum laude now, all A's, and I had it and I just sat on it. So now my new aunt, well, not my new aunt, but Umi was like, like I'm hearing you're doing good as a teacher, you should be an administrator. And you should, like, you can impact more kids. And I was like, nah, Umi, I'm good. And I just sat on it. I sat on it for a couple of years. She would send me, job postings and things of that nature. And then my Umi ended up retiring, I want to say in June, right around her birthday. And about a month later, she was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. So my aunt passed away shortly thereafter, and here it was another aunt that I feel like I let down because she saw the vision that is happening now, and she wasn't able to smell the flowers while she's here. So a lot of the work I do now, Jay and Ra, is because I let 2 females down that I truly love, and I refuse to be the weakest link now. So all of the things that you see is just me going hard, honoring their memory, and making sure that these kids will always be able to count on me. And then that's what you see. Focus on the love, 2.0.
Thank you. I think that that statement, focus on the love, definitely resonated with a few people. I saw some people key in on that in the chat. Appreciate that. That gives us a little bit of the origin story of just a small glimpse of the origin story for Principals Cook and Rahh. I'm curious now if you could tell us, maybe tell us a little bit of how you two kind of connected up, because you're coming from opposite coasts. And then talk a little bit about, I know like school culture and organizational culture are major areas of focus for you. And you both shared some of the successes, just a brief glimpse of some of the successes you've experienced amidst challenge. And I think people are very interested in what your approach is, like how you've approached dealing with some of the challenges that you have in communities there, and how you've built your schools, what your approach has been to, I guess, revolutionizing school culture there. Let's reverse order here. Let's go Principal Cook, then Principal Rahh.
Okay, so how me and Rahh connected, it might have been, and Rahh can tell a story better than me, it might have been right after they saw me on Ellen. A lot of people was in the DM at this point, right? And I think Rahh hit me, and I just felt the energy through the, like it was another, a principal out there doing this thing. So we started connecting, and I met this guy, Watts, and we was like trying to figure out a way to get lights on in Watts. And, it was, some logistics that's going on. We was talking with Tesla, Sticks got a whole bunch of connects. So we was all trying to figure out to get it out there. But meanwhile, I ended up having a conference, and I believe it was in DC, I believe, right, Rahh? And Rahh was in the audience and didn't know. And then I see Rahh, I'm running out trying to get some lunch right quick. And I see Rahh like, oh, yeah, so, it was love getting to see him in person. And, it just been there. So when I got with my OSG clique, when I got with Dennis, we was looking for people to make this a more well-rounded organization. And I hit Rob, and Rob been there, like first time I called him, he's been there ever since. And, like he is an inspiration to me, because I never thought about releasing a book until I seen Rahh, damn near do it on his own. And I'm so happy that he got the link up with Dennis and Denise and, the team to help him not do so much, like, bounce some ideas off, and it all worked out because he's a best-selling author on Amazon. How many people in the world can say that? So that's how me and the king.
And can I say this? Can I say this? And Jay, I think it's important too. When Og says focus on the love, right? And this push of focus on the love, it's this energy, right? It's this living and learning off of village energy. And when Og and I connected, I think right off the bat, it was a brotherhood. You know what I mean? We are thousands of miles away, East Coast, West Coast. But when we connected, it was a brotherhood, right? And it's similar to what he pours into his students and what we pour into each other. So it was just a mutual respect, a mutual love. And I just want to thank Ak for bringing along and having that connection, because it's important for other leaders to see that possibility of energy and focusing on love happens on a peer-to-peer level, and it must happen in your organization. I know he's going to touch on it, but I just want to say that, man, because it's something, there's not enough money. There's no amount of money that can overcome toxic culture that does not focus on love.
Oh my goodness. Amen. That, and I think that's one of the ways we connected up with you. I think we realized we had some common position on that, where the love and the focus on the individual does have to be there, especially if we are gonna try to combat any toxicity that's crept in. But so just to clarify, you do corroborate Principal Cook's story. He got it right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I seen him in DC. I didn't know A.C was that tall, man. Listen, I play ball. I'm 6'2", 280, 300 pounds. I was like, yo, A.C, oh my, he's out here. So no, yeah, we met in DC. We connected. That's what we connected at in person for the first time.
Nice. Well, tell us then a little bit about the kind of your approach. I think you started talking about it, your approach to revolutionizing culture, and maybe even talk a little bit more about that approach to focusing on the love and kind of weaving that into our classrooms, to our offices, to our schools.
Yeah, no,
go ahead.
Absolutely. So, what I say is, it's a proverb for us. We all understand that it takes a village to raise and educate young people. I think most of us can agree to that. It takes a village. And there's a quote that, we can survive without our village and our community, but we cannot thrive without it, right? So if the village is important and it takes a village, that means as a leader, we must focus on our village and strengthen our village. So for me, I dove in and revolutionizing this work by focusing in on a little bit of Patrick Lencioni's work with be humble, be hungry, and be smart, right? Be humble was, for me as a leader, is I don't know it all, right? So I know a lot, but I don't know it all. So I have to put progress before pride. So as a leader, I wanted to make sure that I brought my authentic self, that I truly loved my staff, and I built an organizational culture around focusing on the love, around getting to know them, but around humility, right? The second was be hungry. I wanted to make sure that we were all intrinsically motivated to do this work. Listen, being in education is hard work, Jay. But if you can't find joy in this work, then it's even harder. So as we continuously improve, we wanted to focus on joy as we built our organizational culture, right? So that means that we had to have this hunger around joy and around continuous improvement. And then last was smart. Smart is not just knowing your pedagogy or knowing your content, but smart when it comes to interpersonal relationships. Smart when it comes to, understanding each other, understanding the nuance of each other, understanding the perfection and differences, right? Like, I think that the imperfections, right? That is the perfection of our school, is that we value the imperfections that exist. So once we have that, then we have a recipe for success. And now we build a sense of belonging to do this revolutionary work. Like, I always think of, your organizational culture is the foundation of the culture and climate at your school. So we wanted to build a strong foundation, right? And our strong foundation is built with love, respect, value. Like this was really intrinsic. So when we did that, everything else set in place. So I have a one-on-one meeting. We call it the magic session at our school, where we it's really all about a conversation about mission-driven work. I mean, from everybody has a mission, and we write down their mission, and then we come up with a plan for everybody to complete their individual mission that connects to our collective mission. So that's a little elevator speech on how we do this revolutionary school work, specifically focus in on the village, because it takes a village. So we must prioritize the village.
Thank you. I'm just furiously taking notes. This is fantastic. Principal Cook, tell us a little bit about your approach.
So, Ross said it earlier, like this is a heavy lift, lonely job, but we signed up for it. We didn't get into this to be millionaires. We know what we signed up for. I think a lot of the things that all educators, we adapt. Something about adaptive leadership, you know what I mean? So when I got to West Side, I had no idea what we was up against. My biggest thing was we was losing kids to gun violence. That was the biggest thing, right? Then you get in there and it's gang ridden. And I don't know all of the gangs, you know what I mean? Like sometimes if you're far removed from that area, you don't know the gangs. So it's me taking a step back and listening some help from the OGs, my 60s Crips, You know what I mean? Whatever neighborhood. I'm sure Rod know. Like, well, listen, can you just help me navigate it? Like that's type of, you know what? Now I know the lay of the land. So now I have to remove certain teams, like certain gangs from the school. And you look at who's on course to graduate. Somebody in the chat asked what grade level. I know I have high school. I believe Rod have high school as well, right? So now I have to look at your credits, right? Because if you're not on course to graduate, I'm not just kicking you out like you've seen Joe Clark do. We're not doing that. I'm going to show you where to get a GED or show you how to, you know what I mean, take these courses at night school to get it, but you can't stay here, right? So I'm thinking I did a good thing. I got rid of one gang that was warm with another, but then I tipped the scales because I didn't kick everybody out. So now you got stuff outside you got to deal with. Now, you know, the other gang is more of them. So now outside, now the other squad gonna bring more. So it's like, wow, it's keep on the fly, never resting and thinking you got it, being complacent, right? So, you know, we figured that out, right? Call the cops, they know Cook or tell on them. So we cleaned that up. Now my kids like, Cook, you keep pushing us in classrooms, but the teacher aren't teaching. So I'm just like, you know what, baby, you're right. So now I got to start the process of either coach you up or I'm coaching you out, right? Because the kids deserve the best, right? Still moving, right? So now we're getting it down, but that summer comes up, Jay. Now I'm watching as my kids are getting picked off like a scary movie. Like, what are we doing? So the following summer, I knew I had to do something different. That's why we did the Lights On program. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. We create a recreational place that's safe for the kids. You name it, we got it there. And now, since we did that and went, you know, full year, we haven't lost no more kids. I average about 400 kids every night. I'm gonna say participants because it's not just kids, and it's not my students, all of them. There's little kids from the elementary schools. There's parents. It's just the place to be. Right, even like I made a joke on one of the things that parents come like to get their makeup done before they go to the club. Like that's what they can get. They can do that at Lights On, right? Only place you get your, you know what I mean, your nails and your face done for free. But we did that. So now I revitalized my community. I made them trust the school because we talk about this all the time. Some parents have that anxiety, they want to come back. Well, now I made school cool again for everybody, right? I'm thinking I'm good. Now here come food insecurities. Like, oh, the kids are not eating. All right. Breakfast, don't even worry about it. Whatever time you get here, it's gonna be a Pop-Tart at least waiting for you, right? You got it. Lunch, 100% free and reduced lunch, meaning all my kids come from poverty, you all get it free. But the thing about free food, they don't really taste, you know what I mean? Like, this ain't gel, we just slop it on there and give it to them. Man, kid wants some adobo, they want some hot sauce, some soy sauce, we should have it for them. So now we try to put these things in the cafeteria, like give them some honor, right? Now we're giving them some prepackaged food on the way out. Cool, think I got it. Nope. Cook, we don't eat on the weekends. Now we got to work with the community food bank, and now we're giving them family packs. Guess what, Jay? I'm giving them family packs. The kids are embarrassed by getting the food. All right, put stuff in book bags trying to hide it. Put stuff in other bags trying to hide it. I didn't address the culture, Jay. So now I do 2 episodes of Chopped, our own version of it, to showing the kids what beautiful things they can do with these mixes, right? Again, I'm just showing you how I adapt. We don't have one set way of doing this. You meet your kids where they are, right? Now, food insecurity is good. Now my kids are not coming to school. Attendance. What's going on with attendance? Uniforms. I hate uniforms, but my superintendent doesn't. I hope nobody in from North. But cool, right? So I like, you know what? I'm gonna give you 2 dress down days. West Side Wednesday, right? And dress down Friday. I don't charge my kids nothing. How dare you charge kids to dress down? Are you serious? Right? So we don't do that. So now I'm thinking I'm good. No Cook, they still staying home. Uniforms. Why do we give kids khakis? I hate it. Khakis get dirty just looking at them, right? So I changed my khaki colors. Now it's black, now it's dark gray. I've changed the shirts to black, Again, it's still a Band-Aid. The culture is not being addressed. All right, cool. Now kids staying home, they're getting bullied because those clothes are dirty. Easiest thing to do, without me getting into a long story, is put a laundromat in there. I went through all of the stuff. There's other schools that have it. We did it. Now that combated the attendance. Now the kids are there. So it's like, again, I am not this genius. My babies present a barrier, and it's my duty to remove it. That's it. So even now, fast forward to now, pandemic, you know, we sent a whole group of kids out last year, and Rod noticed that didn't get their driver's ed, because we were shut down, right? So we called these seniors back. As long as you're not 18, come back. We're gonna take it with you now. But I wanna go a step further than that. Like, we always complain about teachers that come in at 8 and then leave at 2:50. Like you know what I mean, or anybody, right? That like you're not putting enough love into this profession, right? But what are we doing education wise? We doing the same thing. You get the kid 9th grade and you get him out at 12th, and then you're good with it. It's the same thing. You got to go prior to that you know, that 9th grade, and then after. I'm all about living wage. I don't care about the diploma. That's wall art. You get no job with that diploma. You're just not. It's nothing. I've never seen a job application that says like that's the highest you go. No, nobody want to see that. They want to see and beyond. And it doesn't mean everybody go to college. It's another thing, Jay. I'm not this college guy. No. If you want to be a nerd like me and Rah, you got it. You got to do some college. I get it. You know what I mean? But if you want to do the trades, baby, go. While me and Rah still in school, you got 1 year in now, you're making the money that me and Rah hope we can make when we get out. So never clown the trades, never clown the military, because you can go in there and learn all that for free because the military is paying for it, and then they give you the GI Bill for yourself or your family. Don't ever sleep on the military. And then how about giving those kids show them how to get a CDL, show them how to, like by New York, they paying ticket punches, you know, they're getting 6 figures. The ticket punch, all they doing is walk up and down the train and just checking your ticket. Like, yo, show the kids that. All my kids don't gotta say welcome to Walmart, but they can be walking up down that doggone aisle hitting them ticket punches. So again, and I'm gonna stop here. I am trying to go beyond the Call of Duty stuff, like like I said, 8 a.m. to 2:50 with education. I'm getting them before there, and I'm gonna see them to the living wage. And that's how we're gonna try to change our culture, and we're gonna change our community in the same token.
Absolutely.
I love that. My heart's like leaping out of my chest while you're talking. One of the key components of our WhyTry approach is a thing we call resilient listening or compassionate listening. And it really is the thing that helps you meet kids where they're at. I heard you mention that a couple times, Principal Cook. And I think that's so significant because you're not just providing a Band-Aid solution, either of you. You're really hearing what your kids' needs are all the way down to the color of their khakis. And then you're letting them know that you hear that and you're trying to help them. And in the process, I wish you could see my note page here. Like the thing that I love, and this is one of the things that I always struggled with as a school psych, is you come in, you want to really help these kids, but it only takes like one day before you realize that we're supporting whole families, we're supporting communities, and our schools really should be community centers that benefit the whole community. And you all have really taken that to heart, where your schools are really centers that benefit families and the whole community in general. It's not just a spot for the kids. So I love this.
Jay,
Go ahead.
I think what Octo was saying is for us to, because we're hearing this sweep the nation, right? This notion of like community schools. And I think what's really important, right, is for you to truly be a community school, your school must center the community, right? And what OC is doing, what we are doing is a lot of times we can get tricked of thinking our school is a community schools because we're doing for the community. And I want us to doing something for the community and doing something with the community are fundamentally different, right? And I think it's important, as it may start as you're doing something for, but it must have the idea and the vision to do with, right? Lights On is part of the DNA of Newark, right? When our parents and our community and our partnerships is the DNA of Watts. It's not a divisiveness in regards of working for, because sometimes inherently when you have that mindset, you work from a deficit mindset. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's really important. I just wanted to say that for us to really understand the concepts of a true community school.
Yeah, I'm really glad you clarified that, because I think that is a key signifier of that. And I think that's, really how we can evaluate ourselves, if in our schools, how well we're doing that. I was wondering if you could talk for a minute. So we have a very diverse group of attendees that are on here, and a lot of our attendees may be school counselors, school psychs, classroom teachers. They may not have the position or the title that either you have, but they're hearing this stuff and they're going, I love this. I believe in this. I want to do this and I want to work towards this. I was wondering if you could maybe speak to like the classroom teacher or the counselor or the social worker that's just working out of an office and maybe wants to start in this direction, but maybe doesn't know where to start. Like what would you recommend to somebody that just one person could do in their little space to kind of start moving in this direction and really start trying to apply some of these concepts in their space, hopefully in a way that will expand out and start to impact more?
Yeah, I'll jump in. I'll say this, that, I think it's a proverb, African or Chinese, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together, right? And what I mean by that is sometimes you'll get inspired, right, as an individual, which is great. Your revolution is going to be how you can build unity and cultivate. Lights On is not all Ak doing it by himself. He has cultivated and he has built a village. The school that we built is not solely on Principal Rahh, it's the village. So as you cannot, there's a quote, you cannot buy the revolution, you cannot just make the revolution, you have to be the revolution with your spirit, or it doesn't exist. So with your spirit, I would encourage you to say, okay, what's my mission? As a counselor, what is my mission? If your mission is your first thing to say, my mission is connected to the standards or test score, then I would ask you and I would charge you to reevaluate your mission, because it should go beyond that, right? It's like what Ak said, my mission is the pipeline of power to a living wage. My personal mission is for students to find their gift, right? For them to achieve self-actualization, right? Are there like goals and metrics that exist within that? Absolutely. So then once you clearly have a foundation of your mission, then you start to share your mission with other like-minded people to build a village in unity. Once you start building unity and building a collective work, then you get to like, all right, what is collective work and responsibility over this mission? Once you start curating collective work and responsibility, then you draw up an action plan for that to become successful. It's a marathon. So don't get, sometimes we can get overwhelmed with all the layers that exist within our schools, within the educational system, but try to make something that's super complex simple. Identify your win. What is your win and your mission? Who can come and be part of that win collectively? And you guys move as one towards that. And when you have a village, the good thing is when it gets tough, they will uplift you. They will support you. Shout outs to the OSG family, right? Like shout outs to my brother Ak. When it's struck, it's a village. So when you pour back into the village, guess what, Jay? The village pours back into you. That's what I would say to do this revolutionary work.
I love that. Thank you. Principal Cook.
Yes, sir. So similar to what Ross said, like my school mission statement is RIP. I wanted the dead to way folks thought of the old West Side by using, and then I changed the acronym to Relationships, Innovation, and Passion. When I started Lights On, I was a VP or AP, whatever you guys call it. So it's not about being that high up there. It's not about that. I tell every school that we're working on with a Lights On program, the first thing you have to do is build that trust. And it's with relationships. I had an amazing relationship with the alumni of my building. And I told them what I wanted. I said, listen, we got to start ground level. The ground level was providing food for families that don't have. That's it. Do you have a school food pantry? Don't tell me your community school, you want to be a community if you're not providing the most essential need. Do you have a food pantry? Because if that baby doesn't have, what are you prepared to do? You're going to go in your pocket? I mean, that may get lost through translation, but if you can provide something. So I always say, if you're a counselor, if you're a teacher, you're somebody here, get the food pantry started. Partner with the Salvation Army. There's Salvation Armies all over. We have a Jersey Cares. New York has a New York Cares. I'm sure it got a LA Cares. Like, look for volunteers. Look for these organizations that want to help. Build that foundation. Then when you get the food pantry, let the community have it, not just for your kids. Open up. I tell the folks I'm working with every second and fourth Friday. Why? Because all my babies that are struggling, that money is going to run out before the first of the month. That last week before the first of the month is probably the most grueling or most hunger-filled weeks. How about we open up and we do something about that, right? Now you're building trust and they respect what you're doing. Now you can start opening up your building to do all these other things. Like Ross said, now the community say you want to be the center. Now folks are begging me. I'm turning down people to come in and set up shop, you know, whether it's COVID testing, whether it's vaccinations, whether it's healthcare, whether it's, you know, sororities and fraternities want to meet with the kids and talk to them. I'm turning away folks because we're filled up because we created it. What they say, you build it, they will come. Build it. And it doesn't take a principle to build it. They, like Ross said, I've never said I can do this without my team. I have a team that match my fly. They match my work ethic. They match my passion, my love, and what I would do. When we was in pandemic, I said this to April School yesterday. We was in a pandemic. My staff begged me, could they go back and provide while we were in the pandemic? I was in a bunker somewhere, hiding with a gas mask on. They like, no, Cook, let us go. And they did that work free of charge for 2 months. Free of charge. It's not about the money. It's about the having those like-minded people. So again, whoever the question was to, Jay, match your person's fly, or you start the matching. You be the wave for everybody else to surf on, right? And then you do that, take care of your community. Don't take Superman and do it. Just build those blocks and you can build your own Justice League after that.
I love it. Be the wave that everyone else can surf on. Build your Justice League. Great. That's a good DC reference too. Hey, I want to pivot just a little bit. I've heard you both mention it a little bit, and I think it might be a helpful discussion because it's something that I really, really believe in that I think could benefit a lot more people. I want to talk just a little bit about restorative practices and what your experience has been bringing restorative practices into your schools and just with that model in general. And keep in mind that there's probably a few people on here that have no experience with that may not even be familiar with what it is. So I was wondering if you could just talk a little bit about what your experience with that has been and how you've seen it benefit your schools. And I'll let you go in whatever order you prefer on this one.
Well, I jump to it. That's my wheelhouse too. I always say, you know, when we talk about restorative practices or building a restorative school or restorative community, let's focus on the first word of restore. In order for you to restore something, it first need to be built, right? You can't restore something that was never built, right? You know, people like to restore their cars, right? You know, like my favorite car was a 1968 Chevy Chevelle, right? It was already built. I can picture it was beauty, bucket seats, blue interior. I want to restore it. Like I want to give it its glory back to where it was at. If it never exists, like I can't restore a 2028 Tesla. Like it haven't been built. It never was built. So when you think about your school, you have to reevaluate like what is currently built at our school? What is currently built in my classroom? Is there something to restore? So as a international practitioner and an international trainers, we focus in on how we can build community. And prior to, and even previous to, before you build community, what is like, you got to be self-aware, like be self-aware. Then are you culturally aware? And then are you aware of the historical, transgenerational, and current traumas that exist at your school? Once you have those prerequisites, then you can build community. And then you want to picture and visualize what kind of community you want to build at your school. Once you build a great community, now you have a foundation to truly now have restorative practices for when something does happen, you can restore it back to this great community that you built. So now you have a lights on. Now you have a house system. Now you have a campus and an energy with great culture and climate. Now you have programs that kids want to learn, entrepreneurship, heat press, music studio, all these different things. So now somebody come and break up and try to steal some stuff out of it. Now restorative practices have a framework to say, how can we repair the harm that take place? Oh, we definitely need to get all of our stuff back, but we definitely need to have some more respect around the equipment that's here because we have a pipeline of power that we're building, right? But if we never built that, usually people just go to justice, right? That's the way so at our school, we wanted to be intentional about building relationships that's authentic with my staff, principal to teacher, with teacher to teacher, teacher to student, it's student to student, and then us collectively with the community. It's levels to this, right? And then now when something happens, it involves all of us. So we try to, you know, and that's what we try to do. And that's how we built the restorative community that's focused on love.
Awesome. Thank you, Principal Cook.
I mean, Rahh answered it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? All I would say is, again, we're being adaptive, right? So when we have restorative practices, we was messing with Rahh, I don't know, it was IRP, one of them, right?
Yeah, IRP, yeah.
IRP, yeah, we was messing with them. So what I gather from it, because I have to bend it to my school's will, right? You know, it's not a cookie cutter approach. You have to figure out your like, know your personnel is what we say in basketball.
KYP, right?
Yeah, yes. So first and foremost is being a proactive, right? You cannot wait until the fight is happening at your school, because then it's going to be Hatfield and McCoy's. If you got a city like my city, it's not going to stop. Yeah. So it's having folks on the chatter, like you listening to stuff, because most of the stuff, Rahh, notice it happens over the weekend, over social media. Right. We inherit the beef on Monday. You said her eyebrows wasn't done. You post a picture on Snapchat and it's Bedlam when, you know, on Monday, right? So you got to have fillers. Go on to those teachers that say, oh, I don't be on social media. Well, you can't be around me because I need you to be able to be proactive. If you want to keep this place safe, like you got more people that's vested, they're shareholders in this whole thing. So doing things like that, I got, and honestly, I brought my kids, but I like, listen, y'all see anybody fighting or say anything crazy that's going to be on Monday, I got a 20 piece for you. Because that $20 that I'm going to get that baby, one, is going to help them, maybe buy them something that they need, but two, is going to keep me from having to deal with the nonsense for about 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's going to happen. So we are being proactive. So I got a safety team that is proactive. They are like trying to stop all it. I still have the, you know, when you got to sit them down, but what, like Rahh said, once you get everybody in there, now you got to sit down in this circle and you got to stuff out, and hopefully the kids is ready. Because I try to handle it with the kids first, but then I'm still saying little Akbar, still cussing, they want to be a clown on the other side of the table. Now I got to inconvenience your parents. They got to come in here, or you're not coming back until, you know what I mean? Things of that nature. So it's all about the pre-work, and Rahh broke it down perfectly. I just allocate a lot of resources to prevent these things from happening. Almost like, remember that movie Minority Report? I'm trying to stop the murders before they even happen. You know what I mean? So that's what we do.
And what Ox said, if you think about it like this, what he just said is like what my father said. The cure to any disease, the best cure to any disease is prevention, right? Like you eat well, you try to do that so you won't get it. You don't want to, we always, and especially in our community, we'll wait till the doctor say something and then we want to start eating well. Then we want to, I am not going to take too much salt now. So it's like that fight already happened. It's already been, and once you build something and you create a healthy school environment, the young people will come and talk to you and be like, yo, listen, this is what happened over the weekend. They want a safe place. Hey, listen, you better get him before I go and take care of it. And he gives you these opportunities to prevent it from happening. So I just want to say that.
I remember the metaphor they gave us in grad school was like, it's like you got a hill next to a river and people keep falling in the river, and you can either build a fence at the top of the hill to keep people from falling in, or you can build a hospital next to the river and try to help them after they do fall in, and we want to try to keep them from falling in the first place. I wanted to, my plug for restorative practices, because it lines up really well with our kind of social emotional approach. And I am going to say, you know, I've heard a lot about basic needs, and I am going to put it in a plug because I am a firm believer of this. Social emotional learning is a basic need for these kids as well. They need emotional support as much as they need physical support. But one of the things I loved about restorative practices is I think it really fundamentally changes our approach to discipline as well. Because all of us as educators are going to be in a position where we have to administer or be part of the disciplinary process. It just happens. And when you really are focused on that relationship piece and that restoration piece, it helps us stay away from the punitive side to discipline that, in my opinion, just really doesn't change people. It doesn't facilitate change. It just creates avoidant behavior. But if we're really trying to help facilitate growth, development, and change, I think that restorative practice and that relationship-based model, we call it surrendering the one up in the WhyTry model, but it's really fundamental, really a key to that.
And can I just say real quick?
Yeah, yeah.
That's important too with restorative practices. If you're prioritizing restorative practices and building of a community, we got to ask two fundamental questions. One is, how much time do you commit to building community at your school or in your classroom? And then two, how much money do you allocate for trying to build those relationships and build community? Those two things will let you know if it's a priority or not. Because if your schedule says, oh, we only do this at the beginning of the fall semester, you know, and at the end of the year when we try to build community, you got to ask yourself, is it a priority?
And I would add to that, you know, with the priority, I think one of the challenges we have in education is every educator in the world has more stuff to do than they have the time to do it. And so I think sometimes we even have good intentions. We say it's a priority, but then we get distracted with all the other stuff we have to do. We have to combine, I think, intentionality with that priority. Like, we make it a priority, and then we add intentionality and really make a plan that we stick to with it. Because I've done it a million times as an educator. This is my priority. Well, it's my priority for the next 5 minutes until I get distracted with my next priority.
Absolutely.
So it has to be combined with that intentionality piece. And that's one thing I really admire with both of you, is your commitment to the intentionality behind that. Like, it is a daily, it's something you focus on every second of the day. So I love that. Huge props to you for that. I was wondering, so a couple people have asked, and I wanted to bring this up because I know it's a key piece to kind of your support and approach to this, but a couple people asked, they saw the OSG on the shirt, and I know that's a really important community. Tell us, just talk a little bit about what OSG is, what it does, and anything else you'd like to say about it.
Man, you know, I would say shout outs to the whole OSG family, the founder and the visionary, Dennis McKeezy and Denise McKeezy. Off school grounds, I know I can jump into off school grounds. OSG is off school grounds. It is a coalition of educators and principals and those in the educational space across the nation that's about this work. It's about revolutionizing the educational experience by focusing on the love, right? And we meet every weekly, to collaborate, to cultivate, to navigate, to be each other's therapy, to just build a village nationwide to support our young people nationwide and now internationally. So that's my elevator speech, and it's a village of just really revolutionary educators, man. I cannot stress enough around how this work. You can feel like you're in an echo chamber. You can feel like you're isolated. You can feel, and you have a village of educators that's about this work, and that's what I would say. I know you can go to.
Yeah, Principal Cook, talk a little bit more about OSG.
So how I got introduced to Dennis. Dennis was the principal. I'm gonna mess the name up, Dennis, but in the Harlem Children's Zone, Promise School, I believe it was. And that's a LeBron school. I don't know what it was called. All right, I'm messing it up, the story, right? But Dennis was the principal, so that Waiting to Superman. And a friend of ours, a mutual friend, was like, listen, this guy, because I wanted to get lights on the road. I wanted to get it out. I wanted to go to see Ra. I wanted to go to see Constance in South Carolina. I obviously want to see my ATL crew with Kirk and them, but I didn't know how to do it. And Dennis was already like this Yoda to all of the principals in the New York area and other places. So when I finally met Dennis, he immediately brought me over to the city, introduced me to some amazing principals. And I was like, yo, this is that love, that family that I wanted. It seemed like in my own city, people don't mess with me because, oh, he thinks he's all, I don't think I'm all that. I'm just about to work. You know, if you want to do all of that, you talk too much. I'm about to work, right? But I went over there and seen some like-minded people. So when I met them, it was awesome. Then he brought them over to see the Lights On program. And then right after that, COVID hit. So Dennis wanted a way for all of us to connect during the pandemic. And he started doing Zooms. First and foremost, people, is free of charge. We don't charge anything. You want the drip that Ra got on, you got to pay for that. But that's it. We don't charge you no fees. It's not, we don't want nothing from you but love and your ideas, and so we can spread the music. I mean, the love music, right? But we meet every Thursday at 4 p.m. still from now on Zoom, and we just talk. You know what I mean? It's morphed in so many different things because there's so many dope people out to Tanzania. We built the basketball court in Tanzania. We got my girls in Scotland and in England, Jessica and Rachel. Obviously, Ra on the West Coast. We got Stacy in Vegas. Like, we're all over. Again, I said Constance down South Kakalaka, Otis in Tampa. We in Utah with you guys. Like, the reach is amazing, but it's more just people, just like-minded people just getting together and just not feeling away. And I posted a meme. It says, surround yourself with winners. So when you talk about your wins, it don't feel like you're bragging. You know what I'm saying? So when I tell Ra, like, listen, I got the new da-da-da, Ra like, oh yeah, well, I got the new da-da-da-da. So it's like a principles challenge. We pushing each other, still sharpen steel. So that's all it is. And you could be a school psychologist. You could be the janitor at the building. If you love kids and you want to change the world, just show up. I'm sure Mark is a maniac in the chat. So I'm sure Mark done put it in there already. Officialosg.org. We got our own YouTube channel and all of that. We become this huge nonprofit. And again, it's just for like-minded people to see what they can do to change the world.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you. So I believe the website's the officialosg.org, correct?
Yeah.
And I think Mark will probably throw it in the chat here. Hey, we got a few more minutes. Tell us, where's your focus right now? I've heard the words used, kind of the great return. We're anticipating already. We're thinking about getting ready for next year, where our focus is going to be. I think a lot of us are anticipating that there's going to be a lot of emotional baggage and challenges that kids are going to be carrying in next year. There's been a kind of this shared traumatic experience that a lot of people, that we're all coming back from. What's your focus going into next year, and what are you kind of prioritizing now? I know that may be I don't know if you're still in session right now, Principal Rahh. I know Principal Cook's got almost a month left of this year, so I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but I know that's a principal's life. We're always looking into the future simultaneously as the present. What are you, tell us where your focus is.
I start, we're still in school. We're still doing everything that we can, and everything. Like, I say this, Jay, nothing really changed for us, because when you focus on equity, it's a natural. You focus on what your young people need, what your community need. I think a lot of people shift where it's like, I need to reshift my focus, when you weren't initially focused on like equity for young people. Because if I'm naturally saying I need to provide what Ox said, whatever barriers that are there, our obligation is to remove them. No matter if it wasn't a pandemic, barriers still existed. So the pandemic is created or have different type of barriers, but barriers we still got an obligation to remove it. So for us at our school, we do that. We focus on our young people. We try to prepare. We already have an environment of love, and it's time to get to it, because at the end of the day, our students, we trying to get them to focus on their dreams and their action plan. That don't change no matter what. That's universal. Pandemic or not, how can we support you to get towards your dreams? So that's what we focus on. Yes, we coined the great return, because out here in LA, we're fully back starting in the fall semester. So we're gonna buckle up, and we're gonna enjoy this ride like we always do.
Thank you, Principal Cook.
So a lot of the stuff that, like, we still in it, like Ross said, we still in it. And I know that's part of it. You know what I mean? It may be on a grander scale, but our school's already set up for that. I'm thinking it's a unique opportunity for us to really flip education on its hind parts, because I think the pandemic showed the world how deeply they need us. And I think we have some leverage right now, right? To really, like, go back to the drawing board. Like our kids don't know how to write cursive. You know how crazy that sounds? Like, they don't write cursive. And no, I don't care what school you're in. I done seen some private schools, they don't write cursive. They deemed it not enough. You only do it when you sign your name. Home economics is gone. Like, why? A kid don't know how to put a button or hem their pants. Like, these are life skills. Like, why are we not doing that? So I'm trying to get back into that life skills department, because if we truly trying to get our kids ready for the Hunger Games after we send them out, what are we how are we getting them there? And I'm not knocking no Algebra 1. I'm not knocking but you guys know how much of that you've seen when you graduate. How much have you seen of that? Like, we really need to shock education back to real, because we know this model that we have of education was when we was in the farms. Like, you got out in the summer because you had to tend to the fields. We're not tending to no fields right now. Like, we tend to nonsense in the summer because the kids have nothing to do. So do we change the hours that the kids go to school? I mean, it's definitely the high schoolers. It's a fact that high schoolers, they stay up later and they get up later. Well, how about we fix it to where maybe they can take care of their little sibling and then go and change the different times, like, so it won't have this fatigue that goes on. Like, we limp into the Christmas break. Do y'all realize that? We're limping into Christmas break. I know I am going to be limping into this finish line right now. And I teach my kids to run by the finish line. I am crawling and scratching to get to the finish line right now. So it's like, let's flip education on its head. And I don't know everything. I know that if I break my school up, if I have 150 freshmen, and I don't want to be long-winded, 150 freshmen, I'm looking at them in pockets of 25. I got to figure out how to give them all the individual learning plan, because we all learn differently. Like, everybody should have an IEP, right? And then try to get them to the living wage as a 9th grader. You have to figure that out now. Don't wait till they juniors and now you want to give them financial literacy. Are you crazy? He done bounced some checks or let his friends use his account. They done got credit cards. Like, these kids are scamming because they fighting for survival. So I'm trying to figure out 9th grade how I can put them in pockets of 25 and start moving the herd that way. All right, I know you're going towards military. I know you're going towards entrepreneurship. I know you're going towards the trade. I know you're going to college. I know you're going to the workforce. Like, figure it out. Don't sit there and just hope for the best when they seniors. You crazy? So that's what I'm thinking right now. We need to flip education on its head, come up with some new curriculum, some new stuff. You still got to do the core. I get it. You got to do the core. You ain't getting UCLA if you don't have 4 years of this, 4 years of that, 4 years of that, 4 years. I get it. But it's a lot of fluff that we be just doing stuff for no reason. It's a lot of fluff in schools. Like, and I hate that I watch food. I'm a big boy. Me and Rob both big boys. So you watch like one of these restaurants Impossible, because Rob talked about restoring, like you had to build, like bring it back to its prominence. Why do colleges still have all of that stuff on the menu? A communications degree ain't getting you nothing but a temp agency. That's where you're going, because ain't no jobs for that. Oh, you want to be or whatever. Rob, it's sociology. You're not getting nothing with that. Psychology, now I got some psychologists on here. Let them know, baby, you can get that psychology bachelor's, but you're not getting a job with that. You gotta get your master's. Like, man, start making these colleges put a real menu up there and put next to it, no job. No, all you got is I was about to curse. All you got is all you got is student debt. All you got is your parents kicking you out with all of this stuff. Like, yo, let's do it right now. There's no better time.
Hey, A.O.C and Jay, it's the hey, he got up close and personal for me. He got when A.O.C got up close to the screen, he giving it to you. You know, listen, that is what I love about my brother, man. And he nailed it, flipping education on his head, man, no doubt.
I love it. I love the honesty. I love the passion. It made me think there's in the world of, now I'm going to lean back on that psychology, but I did get the graduate degree. So it did get, but there's one of my favorite modes of psychology of therapy. It's a thing called client-centered therapy. And it makes me think like what you all are doing, it's like student-centered education, but really it's community-centered education. Like the focus is right where it needs to be. And I'm so inspired to hear this. What I want to do just to finish up, we're out of time, but I want to ask one last question. I think it'll be a quick one. And I'm going to put some slides up rotating for people to, if they want to get a hold of us. What I wanted to ask is just this simple question. And by the way, please check out these guys' social media feeds. Go to that OSG website. We've recorded this for those of you that want to share it with other people, with your colleagues. It'll be up on our website, hopefully by Friday at the latest. Here's the last question for you, and I'd love to ask it just so we can end on a great high note. What's giving you hope right now? Let's start with Principal Cook, then we'll go Principal Rahh. Just tell me one thing that's giving you hope right now that is motivating, inspiring you.
One thing that's giving me hope, wow, the kids. It's the most fearless generation I've ever seen. They look at COVID. They still outside. They don't fear anything, right? So I think we have to build on that fearlessness, and show them a better way, because they are they're a knowledge-based generation as well. Like everything is at their fingertips and they know how to get it. You meant like Mark Merrill is in the doggone chat finding stuff like that. The kids are on. They hand-eye coordination is getting it sooner. I seen somebody say they don't text cursive, but you can't sign checks with a text. So but yeah, I would say that we really have an opportunity to do some things with this generation, because they really can go out there and do some things if we just channel that energy.
I love it. Fearless, smart kids are going to solve probably a lot of the challenges that we haven't been able to solve yet. Principal Rahh.
Man, listen, my community, my kids, the village, that brings me hope and the ability to continuously improve and learn. Like we like I said, we are living in an informational stage, right? And the more information that we get, the more information that we share, we're able to provide that for our young people, and they're able to take that and do crazy, monumental things with. To give you a prime example, like at our school, we're working on developing robots and also understanding blockchain technology and cryptocurrency, right? Like who would have ever thought like having curriculum around students wanting to be encouraged to connect with cryptocurrency, and it leads to changing the world and not allowing the world to change you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to answer this question as well. And the thing that's given me hope, I can say this is not pandering. This is the honest truth. Getting connected with this OSG group and Mark Merrill, who you've referenced, he's done a lot of work on this. He's been working the chat. He's part of the WhyTry organization. And he's kind of helped make some of these connections for us, but it's been so inspiring to me, and realizing that there is this community that has this same passion, that has, reaches across the country, trying to help these kids. That's been such a great source of hope for me. And I hope everybody will go check it out, and see, the messages that are being shared weekly, and check out what you all have to offer through social media, because it's a great platform. And I agree. I think it was Principal Cook said, right now we have, I think there's some unique leverage behind some of these messages around social emotional learning and restorative practices, and student focused practices that I hope we can really all take advantage of. So, hey, we're out of time. I just want to conclude with a huge thank you to our panelists. Give our panelists, Principal Cook and Principal Rahh, a virtual round of applause. I think your messaging really resonated with a lot of people today, and you're such great examples of really practicing what you preach, really being about it. And so honored that I could be here to moderate it and be on with both of you. Thank you so much. Any parting thoughts or closing remarks before I play us out with some music?
I can go.
Nah, just hats off to the best-selling author Amen Rahh, who's now the king because he got the young prince and his baby girl. So hats off to you, King. You are an inspiration to me. Thank you, Mark Merrill and Christian and Jason and you, and for always showing us love all the way out there in Utah, and my OSG family. We fail to not represent everywhere we show up. We are definitely in the chat, and I see Smitty in there. Like we are a movement, and I seen some people. Please join. It's free, and just get around like-minded people, man. So that's it for me.
I echo the same thing, Jay. WhyTry, thanks for having me. A.OC, you already know, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been part of the OSG family. My OSG family, thank you. Look out for Focus on the Love, new book from A.OC himself that is around transformative leadership. And look out for all the OSG. It's totally free. I just posted on my Instagram how people years ago was asking how the internet was and questioning the internet. Be involved, be connected, because the wealth of information, the wealth of knowledge helps build us to be conscious leaders. And when we're conscious leaders, we're able to take that back to our young people in our communities to build better, sustainable, self-sufficient communities.
Hey, I'm glad you mentioned that. Principal Cook, promote that book. We still got people on. When does it come out? How do they get it?
The book coming out is called Focus on the Love. I got on some of the power right now. Focus on the Love. It's coming out in the fall. September, October. We trying to plan it around my trip back to Ellen. So you know, but the book is done. We're doing a soundtrack. I sent Ross some heat. Like, listen, man, I got some songs. Like, I'm looking at DJ Khaled. I'm trying to show my babies at my school because we're doing the Dame Dash Studios there. But I'm making all these songs, man. And I thought it was just rap, man. I got techno. I got 80s pop. It's going to be amazing. So we're releasing the soundtrack with the book. It's just going to showcase the city of Newark, all my kids there, my son's friends and my kids at my school. And just what better way to use my platform than to get my babies, on. So that's what it's about. So Focus on the Love. The book is a transformation, like Ross said, transformative approach to organizational leadership. It's not a biography. It's literally me saying, listen, this is how I led my organization with love. This is how you do it in coaching. This is how you do it in this. You can be a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. If you lead with love, you're gonna get more to stakeholders, and it's gonna run itself. So it's basically just a how-to for dummies, how to lead with love. And again, my boy Amen Rahh book is out right now. You see it in the background, Revolutionary.
I was gonna say you got your book out. Promote that.
Yes.
Absolutely. So we OSG family, we put out Revolutionary School Culture, the 6 principles of unlocking your school's hidden treasure, paying homage to the alchemist hidden treasure. #1 Amazon bestseller in regards of organizational leadership, restorative practices, trauma-informed practices, and how then you can use those things to create humane-oriented leaders and humane-oriented teaching to revolutionize your school community. It comes with a workbook. It has a workbook that comes with it, so you can really dive into it in personal leadership journal. So we just trying to really send a message on, once you nail it, you could possibly scale it. So that's really what we're trying to do to impact educators across the nation.
I love it. Thank you so much. Let's play it out. Play us out. I got what do I have? Oh, I got a little Etta James queued up, and that's what we're gonna